Lauri, how are you today?
home in Finland. I just recently moved back to Finland. I lived in the States for 11 years, so I'm glad to be back where I was born and to my roots. Feels
Yeah.
great.
You were in Florida for a while, right?
Sorry?
You were in Florida for a while.
Yeah, Florida, and then I also lived in Hawaii and Los Angeles. So
All
all,
all very hot.
yeah, all the sunny spots. And now I'm back in the darkness, and it's
What do you
great.
prefer? What do you prefer, the sun or the dark?
Well, I think I need both. Like it's very much in my personality, like both. Like I have the dark side, which I love, and mostly that's where the songs come from. And then I have the happy, funny side of me that is like hopefully the guy who's mostly, out there and talking to people and doing interviews and stuff. So I'm always balancing between those two worlds. And and I think it kind of works for me. Like I get to experience these dark winters and these seasons and all the beauty of the nature here in Finland. And then, anyway, we travel a lot with the band. So I get to go, to Los Angeles and I get to go to Mexico City and, the sunny beaches, just enough. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you find that creatively it comes mostly from the dark side, so to speak?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. It's just attracts me more. Like personally, I just like to kind of explore that side of my mental space. Like, it's just I'm not very good at writing happy songs, honestly. Just like just fits. Somehow also the music we make, like the lyrics, kind of gotta match that. So yeah,
Mm. Yeah, that makes sense. Do you think that there's like a part of it, whether it's small or large, that for you is therapy, like talking about those dark things publicly with your music, with your art?
yeah, a lot. I mean, I try to go through these things. I'm not very much going to a therapist or doctors. I try to avoid it. Sometimes I have to, but I I noticed that like the more work I do, meaning the more songs I write, uh, I feel better because I kind of get rid of those thoughts. Even though I might have to sing those songs for like decades onwards, but I still sort of like go through them and then kind of that's it, and I'm done with those things, and I can move on in my life. So yeah. And when I'm writing songs, I'm quite slow, usually like takes time, and I like to take my time. Like I enjoy that feeling like when I'm having a good song started and like, oh, this is so great. Like I wish this vibe will not go away for a couple of days that I can just sort of be in this world. And you know, I hardly sleep at all. I'm thinking like 4 hour sleep or something, and then I wake up and I gotta go back to my song like 5 o'clock in the morning, and you know, and I work like a manic, crazy dude. But
Yeah.
it's fun. And then when I'm done with that artistic rush, and it's over, I'm totally empty. I have nothing in my mind. Like I can't write any songs or think about music. Nothing. I just got to do something else.
Yeah. That's interesting. I think that, therapy is really beneficial, counseling is really beneficial, but it's not the traditional sense where you have to sit down and talk to someone and you're lying on a couch. I think it's just about having a conversation and being honest with yourself and honest with your feelings and your thoughts. And sometimes we talk to other people about that, and sometimes we talk to ourselves about that. And it sounds like you talk to yourself a lot and then you express that through your music to the world.
Yeah, I think so. It's weird. Like I consider myself being a bit of introvert, and like having trouble trusting a therapist for say like starting to open my life fully and like I'm like, oh, there's too many things. Like, oh, it's gonna take a year and it's gonna cost me like, a million. Uh, and and then when I'm doing it by myself and I'm anyway releasing it to millions of people, it's like it's a weird thing that I'm actually doing because I think it's personal, and then I put it out there. It's like for all these people to hear. But what I've noticed that you know if I've dealt with some of the problems I've had and written a song about them and I put it out, uh, I've instantly getting feedback from people like, "Oh, I also have these feelings, and I'm also like this, and like thanks for writing this song, and I've been listening to this one, and I've been getting strength, and like it's empowering me, and that's really nice feedback, obviously."
Yeah. I think it's beautiful how much music can heal or art can heal us as well as the people that receive the art. It's a very special medium. You're you and I are very similar age. So you're April 23.
Yeah.
I'm April 15. So we're
Oh,
not the same. We're not the same. You're Aries. Sorry, I'm Aries. You're Taurus. But we have similar traits. The most important ones are stubborn and uncompromising. With your career, how much has the stubborn and uncompromising helped?
oh, a lot. I mean, you have to really keep your head and keep your thoughts and like and really have a vision and really go for it. And there's so many people giving you ideas and like advice and stuff. Some of it's good, but you have to really trust yourself and your gut feeling and your intuition to go far. And you really have to like be gutsy and be stubborn and kind of not give up.
I totally agree. I'm a family man, a father, just like you are. You have, is it three kids? So how do you balance? Because I'm curious about this for myself too. How do you balance having a family and a partner and three kids, but also being stubborn and focused on your music?
Yeah, it's it's a wonder it works. um, but yeah, but it's like I've noticed that I sort of have two personas. Like when I'm on the tour, I'm able to walk into this bubble, the Rasmus bubble, we call it, like something we created 3 decades ago when we started with the band. And I'm nothing has much changed in that. It's like almost like a time machine or something. You just walk into the tour bus and you're all of a sudden in this world of the Rasmus, and it's like the same humor, the same. It's almost like a school trip, like I'm with my 15-year-old buddies again. you know, it's so funny, like, and it also feels very light and easy life for me. I get away from my responsibilities for a while when I'm there. I'm kind of in another dimension. Uh, but that always like now the tour will be 2 months, which is kind of a long time. I'll be gone for 8 weeks. I'm leaving on Monday, and I have family, I have kids, I have partner, I have house, and all these things. And it's gonna feel like a long time, but like they say, like the sailors would say, like the first and the last week are the worst. You know,
Mm.
like anything in between is gonna be just like some great mass. Like if you think of like homesickness and stuff like that, but like first and the last week are the toughest. Uh, But when I come back home, I do stuff like now I was just like renovating the kitchen. I was gonna call someone like to help me, but then I was fucking hell, I can do this my own. I'm just gonna try. I don't know if I could, but I'm just gonna give it a try. And I've been so happy to do that, like something with my hands and see like sawing and like drilling and because making music is so abstract and so like you know hard to grab. It's just ideas and thoughts and like feelings. So it's really nice to come home and do like real stuff and see it happen right there in front of your eyes.
Yeah. How do you balance, like, the time away from the family and the kids? Do you, regularly talk to them, or are you focused on band mode, and then when you get home, you're focused on family mode? What's the
No,
delineation?
I talk to them obviously. Like it's like now we have this great opportunity to switch on the screen, and my kids start calling me. And when I'm in the wrong place sometimes time difference is like whatever, but it's just fun. Like they're very curious to know what I'm doing, and I try to show them too. Like I just took my kids, the younger kids, like 3-year-old and 7-year-old, to see one of the shows here in Finland just a couple of weeks ago, and so they have an idea like where I'm going when I'm gone. So it's especially my daughter. She's 3 year old. She's very like into our band and like I want to go to the tour bus. I want to sing with you on the stage, and like it's really like cute, and like she has a little microphone and she's going all over the house and singing our songs with her own lyrics though.
So when, one of your kids says, "Daddy, what is a rock star? What do you do?" How do you explain it to them?
uh, well, I'm just kind of trying to like mention the crowd, like the people who show up. The audience is very important. Like they come there with us to have a good time.
Mhm.
Like together we make this experience. Like I always talk about the audience for them. For them, it's I think bit weird. I mean, when we are walking on the streets here in Finland, especially everybody knows me and they're like, "Hey, Lauri, like your new song. Can I get an autograph?" And like my kids are like waiting, "Dad, can we go already?" Like, not again. But like, but I kind of try to keep it very like open for them. Like, if they have any questions, like I want to tell them everything and like show them pretty much everything and take them everywhere, you know, because because I have experienced like the band taking time away from my child. Like I have an older son who's 17, and I wrote a song on this new album. It's called "I'm Coming for You," which is about this thing like I felt like I haven't maybe been the best father or like best parent. Um, Not because I didn't love him or something, but I was away a lot. Like I wasn't there in his life, and we divorced, and everything went, how it went. But so I have some guilt, and I wanted to make a sort of a confession for him writing this song, and it became really good actually. Um, so that's why I'm thinking like I don't want them to feel too much like music is bad, and music takes me away from them, and
Mhm.
I don't know if I can do it, but I'm trying. I always remember hearing like how Liv Tyler went to see her dad, um, you know, play the concerts, and she was like putting on the Aerosmith shirt and like going with her friends, like having a good time. And I was thinking like, wow, that's so cool. I hope my kids will be like that when they grow up to be adults. But um, yeah, I'm not trying too much to be the cool daddy because it's impossible. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you just have to be yourself and you have to show up for your kids and be there for them. I mean, I split with my ex a couple years ago, separated, and that was a big concern, right? Like, how are the kids going to be impacted? Are they going to be negatively impacted about two parents not being in the same house anymore? And I think that, while it is an adjustment period, the most important thing for me has just been being there, and when I have the kids, I'm super present and I put away the phones and, I tell them how much I love them and I encourage them to be themselves and talk about whatever they want. And you have no control over how that's going to like display when they're older, but you're doing
Yeah,
the right thing. Just be there for them and show them the love.
yeah, yes. And then in this job, so to speak, we have this, we have 2 months away, we're touring like constantly, and then we come back home. And like sometimes I could have, not very often, but sometimes, like last summer, I had 2 months off.
Mm,
Like I has basically nothing, um, which is quite rare too. Like people don't have that. So then I was being the family man pretty much all the time and really like bonding with them. And so, yeah. So you have to kind of use the time you have and but I know like I have a lot of friends who work like regular jobs and they travel a lot. They go, like I have a guy who's going to London every second week and like every second week he's away. Uh other guy flies between Finland and Los Angeles like all the time and like so it's not that far from what I do like time wise.
yeah. I mean, that's a good point. There's a lot of people in other professions that are not musicians or entertainers that have the same hard balance, right? Of like travel and work and family. We're all, it can happen to any of us.
Yeah.
Um, you have a Dynasty tattoo on your forearm.
Hmm.
And I know that that has to do with, a group of bands in Finland, and a lot of you guys are part of this group, like buddies, comrades. But how do you think about, Dynasty now, the word, when it comes to you and what you're creating now that you have a family?
Well, I think like well, that thing, Dynasty thing, it's kind of like over, but we have those tattoos. I can show it to you. Like we have these as like a memory of good times. Obviously, we at one point we had our own label, our own studio. We were releasing and producing Finnish music. Uh, we were actually ruling the charts once. Like the Rasmus was number one, then two of the other bands were two and three on the album charts, and then it was like, gee, now it's time for the Tats, and everybody went there thinking like 12 people got the same thing, and it's such a nice memory. But a lot of those people have like quit. You know, we seem to be the only guys who still make music like every day. And I know it's hard, it's not an easy profession like to be a musician and make your living with it. But I think some of them just didn't have the passion. Also, I think, if your passion is money, don't become a musician. If just, do something else because it can be really tough sometimes and you might really have to squeeze it couple of months and then like something might show up, some gigs, whatever. But it's a tough life. I mean, we are lucky, obviously, having success and everything, but we also have been working hard and I've had really difficult times in my life and in the history of the band, like, like being this close to quitting and going back to school and getting that real job and everything, like, just to survive. But I mean, yeah.
What about one of
Outside, it always looks easy and fun, and like, oh, these guys are just hanging out and just playing a couple of songs and just drinking beer. It's like, yeah, we do that too, but you know, behind the scenes, there's a lot of work, a lot of planning, like a lot of things. Like obviously, it takes a lot.
yeah. Well, you're doing so much, and it sounds like, we're similar in the sense that you take a lot of opportunities, you keep going, or we don't say no, we don't give up. Um, this idea of dynasty, legacy, right? People think of wealth and an empire and how much you've built and, what you're leaving to the next generation. I like what you said. I like that you said it's a memory of good times. Never mind the material stuff. Let's leave to the next generation this amazing catalog of good times.
Mm.
You're doing that for your kids?
Yeah, obviously, yeah. I'm not doing this for the money. Like I said before, like it's really like it's all about like experiences. It's about making memories, like interaction, meeting people, like connecting everything. And I think that's something I want to show to my kids too, and to my friends. Like, like, even for fans, like, because like social media is now giving us all these ideas, like how you should have investments by the age of 21, and like you should, you know, be always the best version of yourself. Like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
It's like, it's too much. Like, it's too much to ask, and less is enough. And you are enough, probably the way you are. So, you know, it's just, it's going to be a very short ride, this life. And I think it's very important to do things that make you happy. And when you're happy doing something that makes you happy, people around you will find you nice and kind and in a good vibe and good mood. Your kids, your partner, everybody. So it's just decisions.
Yeah. When you're not making music, when you're not renovating your kitchen, when you're not with your family, what do you do for health, fitness, for hobbies?
Uh, I do like all kinds of like CrossFit things, and like I do yoga. Uh, yeah, I try to keep fit because I noticed that it's such a straight connection to my mental wellness, like how I feel physically. And and this life, like being playing the concerts sometimes like 2 hours, singing and bouncing around. Like if you're in a bad shape, you can't do it. Like people are always asking, how do you sing and like jump all over the place? Like, yeah, bro, because I'm in a good shape. Like I care. I I pay attention to that, and I work out, and like I think it's part of a daily routine, and I don't actually hate it. I love it. It really makes me feel good. Um, I don't have to like force myself to do that, and actually, it's one of the things that I really enjoy. And it doesn't have to be a lot. I mean, it can be just like some, but as you know, like when you move your body and your muscles and use your body, like it just helps thinking, and like makes your mind clear, and it's really good for you.
Awesome. I want to talk about obviously the music and your time in the industry. 30 years is a long time, probably more than 30. But let me just share something fun first. So I mentioned that I went to high school in Prague. I was there from 94 to 98, and it was an international school. So, my class was small and everyone was from a different country. And I had two or three classmates from Finland, Jaakko and Jussi, awesome guys. And,
Mhm.
I learned a lot from them and we shared music tastes and things like that. Jussi came back from Finland once and he had Finnish tin candies and he said, "This is the best thing ever. Watch this, guys." And he took the Finnish tin candies and he crushed them up into powder and he mixed them in a bottle of vodka. And that's what we would drink. Is that normal in Finland?
Yeah. Yeah. That's like it has a name. It's called salmari. It's like a licorice, salty licorice, spicy drink. We do it from those candies, and then also the Fisherman's Friend, if you know that, another
Yeah.
candy like spicy one, and you melt those in with vodka. And then actually, the way to do it is like you you have a bottle of vodka, and then you put them in the bottle, and then you put the bottle in the dishwasher and run it, and then it's gonna melt, and it's ready to drink. Yeah. Yeah.
So so that's normal in Finland. How do you think that that even started? Is it because it's cold and because people need like heat in the throat? Like why?
Yeah, I think so. Like it feels good like you know, when it's cold and it's almost like medicine. You can always say that. But I mean, us Finns, we always seem to have like taste for stronger things like, like that alcohol thing we just mentioned, but like also bread. We have the darkest rye bread and the hardest and chewiest like that Americans would consider like, ooh, that's gross, yucky. uh we have the candy is like the saltiest licorice there is, like, and like a lot of things like seem to be stronger. Maybe also explains why Finland has a lot of rock and metal music, like
Mm.
gotta be like much louder um with that too. So maybe it's because of the long winters and like the um, cold weather and stuff like that. It can be. I mean, just it's also a bit of a cliche, but maybe half
Yeah.
of it's true.
I mean, you guys, Scandinavia is where black metal comes from, where death metal comes from. That it's a hard terrain. It's cold winters. You talked about like being in the dark when you write. Black licorice, like it makes sense. And it's probably been like that for a while. How do you like you move back from all these sunny places? How do you find, the light and the good side, so to speak, in Finland?
Um, well, I haven't been here for the winter yet. It's still coming. So let's see how I'm gonna cope with it because obviously I've used to being in these warm places, but I'm a Finn from the heart, and like I have my roots here. I was born and raised here. Like the 31st years just spent my life here, so I know what it's like. And obviously, I get to travel. Now we are going all over the place. This year we're going to play Mexico, and like next year we're going to Australia in January, and like I'm gonna have this glamorous, sunny life happening anyway. But honestly, there are so many things in Finland that I missed, like the clean, nature that's pretty much like no one's land. Like you can just walk in the forest and like not see a house for like an hour, and you can, it was really hard to find a place in Miami that wasn't owned by someone.
Mm,
I think these places are owned by someone, but they don't care. It's like there's a right, like it's called like every man's right or something. Like you can go to any forest and pick the mushrooms and like berries and do whatever, unless you don't just build a house, but like basically just hang out there. And it's really good. Like I just spent some hours last weekend in the forest here, and it was, like all the colors in the leaves, and like, it was a sunny day too. Really cold, like your breath is steaming, and like I'm like, oh, this is so cool and so inspiring and so like fresh and clean and pure. It's like, wow.
Sounds like some of the light is just in the simplicity of the beauty of nature, right? Of just the natural environment.
Yes, and it's really like I think it's really like between your ears,
Mm.
like it's just like what do you decide to see? Like if you if you think it's very like if you don't like darkness, I do actually, and I enjoy that. Enjoy silence, enjoy the silence, and like I really like these things. I'm not feeling that scary and like I don't feel anxious in the dark, like not at all. So I can also see that as a very positive thing, and like um, and then again, as Finns, we are used to live this life like when there's this long dark period, but we know that the spring will come, and it's
Mm.
like around our birthdays, like April, mid-April, started to come, and it's comes fast, and it's like wow, it feels really as like a gift, like and again when you've seen all these trees like dead, basically the 7 months time, and then they start blooming and like all this young fresh green comes and everything's back to life, and it's really like you know how it is, but I'm just saying like in these places I used to live, Hawaii, Los Angeles, and Miami, the weather is pretty much the same. There's no seasons, there's no changing in the nature, and that I'm used to that. So
Mhm.
I was having maybe a bit uncomfortable feelings sometimes because I don't know when the time is passing, or there's no like rhythm or like something like that is missing. So
Yeah. Sounds like there's a lot of beauty in the darkness, and you hold on to the fact that change will come, light will come.
yeah, I mean that's just like our music. I mean, I don't think there's one song that doesn't have that spark of hope somewhere. Like there's always like I always come up with at least one line saying something that it's gonna be okay. Yeah, because that kind of I have to do it for myself. Just have that life thread, like one little piece when you can pull yourself up. Um, um, it's yeah. I think our music has a lot of hope, and I've noticed like we recently played a beautiful show in Kiev in Ukraine. We were part of this festival, charity festival, and we played an hour in front of a most welcoming crowd. It was just such a beautiful thing in the middle of the war. It was crazy, but we could go there and and deliver some good vibes and have them not think about the war for an hour. It really felt like a great achievement, and it was a crazy trip though. We experienced some bombing there too. Like there was one night when we got there, there was an airstrike, and then there were like 300 drones and 13 missiles up in the air, and like we had to sleep in the bomb shelter that first night, and it was really scary. But this is their everyday life, you know. At least twice a week they have bombings, and it's been going on for like almost 4 years, so it's so sad.
It is sad, and it's crazy to think that still happens. I remember stories from my grandparents. Czechoslovakian, that's where they grew up. Stories about them being in fields and bombs dropping, stories from my parents, leaving former Czechoslovakia when tanks were invading, both Germans and Russians, like different times, obviously different times in history. But what I think is so beautiful is that in spite of all the stuff that's happening, when you travel, as I'm sure you've experienced, when you travel and you go to different places, you start to meet the people, and that preconceived notion that you have that you've developed through TV or screens or radio about what these people might be like and what they wear and they're different, you realize that they're all the same, that most people are just loving and embracing and welcoming. It doesn't matter where you are.
Yes, exactly. I always say that same thing. Like, it's just like being so lucky to have this band and be able to travel. I think we've played in like 72 countries, and it's incredible like how much we've seen of the world, and being like learning from different cultures, and I'm really interested to see that, and I love that people are different in different parts of the world. Like, I mean, deeply we are all the same, but people have different habits and they have different cultures and they have different like I'm just celebrating the difference. Like, that's a great thing, and that we should be proud of that. But traveling is the most beautiful thing.
It is. So, you've been doing this for most of your life. You started this band, I believe, in 94 in like grade 8. What would you tell yourself if you could go back in time? What would you say to yourself just starting out?
Mm, yeah, well, uh, yeah, it's tough because I think I like whatever I did in my life after that, being like 15, I had to make all these mistakes to get it right at the end. Like like you have to go and figure it out yourself, really. That's It's like you can get advice from people, but you have to kind of make decisions and like do it yourself. It's it's like I might say like don't drink so much alcohol. I did that at one point a lot, and it was like a thing. Like in Finland, everybody was drinking so much, and like I had all these friends, musicians, used to drink that time. Nowadays, not nothing. Nobody drinks anymore. But
Yeah.
it's back in the days, it was like the thing to be drunk a lot, and I think I was kind of slipping on the danger zone there, and then I quit, and it's been like 16 years now that I have not taken anything, but maybe that's an advice that I don't waste any more life. Like, because like obviously it's great fun to get drunk and like stay up late and do stuff that you wouldn't do if you were not drunk or drinking. And so I'm glad I got to see all that. Like I got to party all the European countries at night. But now I wake up early and I go to see places in the daytime. Like I'm kind of living the opposite life nowadays, and it's cool because I got to see both. So again, like, who am I to say and give any advice because I did it myself. Like, I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's really hard, but I think it's good like to listen to people, or if you respect someone and they give you advice, it's quite nice. Like I have these friends, like that brings us to our uh, producer Desmond Child on this album. He is a legendary songwriter. Ever since from '70s, he's written songs that are probably one of the biggest songs, some of the biggest songs in the world, like "I Was Made for Loving You" and "Living on a Prayer" and many other songs. And I've known him since 2007. Uh, been writing songs with him, obviously, but also spent a lot of time with him just talking about stuff. And like, he's been sort of guiding me a bit in life when I've been lost. And he's been some kind of a mentor for me, not just musically, but in life. And that's been really good. Because I respect him. I listen what he has to say. But like he says himself, like, I have really good ideas. 99% of my ideas are really good, but that 1%, it's really bad. So it's like, again, like, I should really judge myself and decide myself what to do. And like, people can give you a lot of ideas, but you just have to pick the right ones.
Yeah. I mean, I like that. Listen to yourself. If there's advice, maybe hear the advice. You don't have to take all the advice, but be open to at least listening. I think a lot more people need to be receptive to what other people are saying and not think that they know everything the best.
Yeah.
So the new album, Weirdo, I like that. I think this is similar for a lot of your music, is that there are a lot of songs that are different, right? There's a lot of different vibes and different tones, and it's not just heavy versus light. It's like some are written completely differently and different chord progressions and different um, sounds. Is that what you were going for with Weirdo? Is this just something natural when it comes to you and songwriting?
Um, well, I think I don't really think too much like when I'm writing. I just have an idea, some, 4 bars of something that I like that kind of grabs me and feels good, and then just make a song out of that. And I feel kind of blinded by the song that I've just written. Like a lot of times I can't really say if it's good or bad because I'm always just so excited. So every song that I've recently written are the best songs. And that's okay because, you know, I just feel like that way. And then maybe later, and you can judge them and see which one was really good or something. But it's like when we write a song, usually quite fast afterwards, we go to studio and start recording it, and it's very spontaneous. Like, there's no like certain box we have to fit, which is nice. It gives us more flexibility and more options and just more freedom, and it's more fun to oh, this is like a punk song. Let's go for the punk rock style with this one. And then the other one is more, oh, this is more like a metal song. And then there's a ballad, and like try to treat them all like individuals and have them sound different from each other, um, without fearing like, oh, we're going to lose the style or like the red line or whatever between the songs. Because I think I just can't think like that, honestly. I think it's in the songwriting, in the lyrics, in the melodies already strong enough to sound like us. And then, my voice are, guys playing their instruments. So, that is the Rasmus sound. And I think it's nice that we can explore a little bit like with different music styles. We've always had that in our songs.
Yeah. I grew up painting, on and off, just different types of realistic versus abstract painting. And anytime anyone ever asked me, like, what are you going for? What does this mean? It was so hard to explain to them. I literally just painted how I felt. I
Hmm.
just put what I was feeling into the painting until I felt like it was done. Do you feel the same with your songwriting?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I'm like I said, sometimes it takes me days to finish the song, and I kind of want to, if I have the time, I want to do it like that, because I know I have that feeling it's going to it's going to be fine. I'm going to get it. I'm not having it right now, but I know it's gonna come. And then it's like, you know, finally when all the last rhymes fall into places, and it's a magical feeling. Like, like it's all been there, but it took me a while to get it out. And you know,
Yeah.
I'm not very organized with my thinking sometimes, and you know, someone might say that I waste a lot of time, but I actually like that feeling when I'm lost in my songs and like, kind of dreaming and like, make another coffee and put the fire on the, and just like enjoy that vibe, that feeling, that, the creative moment and try to make it last longer.
Organic creation. Don't worry about organized.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I only have like 10% of battery, so
That's okay. That's
yeah.
okay. This is perfect. It's funny because you mentioned advice, and that's kind of like what I wanted to finish on because, as we've said, you've been doing this for a long time, 3 decades and more. Um, your music's incredible. You guys have tons of awards, 5 million albums sold, large world tours. You've done so much. What do you say to aspiring artists who look up to you and envy you and wish they could be in that situation, who, maybe are just getting started or are an album in? What kind of advice do you have for them?
Well, I think it's important to, if you're playing an instrument and hoping to become an artist, to start writing your own songs. That's like the first thing. I mean, it's okay to start with covers, and like that's what we also did. Like a couple of first gigs, we had some cover songs, but we also had our own songs in the set list. Like no matter how bad, crappy they are, it's it's worth trying and trying to perfect the art of songwriting, because that's like your own voice. That's what people will get from you. That's your words. That's what you can say. So that's the most important thing, I think, to learn songwriting. Uh, and then just like kind of try to find something that ignites you, like something that you really love to do. Like you might think that you want to do metal, but you might be a pop star. You don't know until you kind of try a little bit, like try this and that, and like try different styles. If even though your band is this, try to write a pop song, or try to write a freaking classical song or something, just to sort of see where you are. Something might actually feel really good and inviting, and sort of like go with the feeling, go with the flow and the instinct. Yeah, that's kind of my advice.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You mentioned, excess drinking, excess partying before. Um, Not about music, but about the music industry. What's something that artists should try to avoid?
Mm, well, it's the social media is tough because like you always compare yourself to others, and you know even I do that sometimes. Let's say we're on a break and I see guys touring somewhere, taking photos and being busy, and like, oh, I'm just here like doing nothing. And I get a bit anxious sometimes. So I guess that could happen to a lot of people. Like they're always kind of measuring themselves and looking at others, like how they're doing. And, a lot of people can just fake their busyness. And, I know people who don't really do anything. They just look fantastic on the social media, but I never hear any music. It's like, oh my God. And so that's one thing to watch out. And then obviously labels have strong opinions. If you get signed to a label by a label, you got to be strong, keep your head together, and keep your own ideas and opinions strong because, like, they most probably gonna have some ideas for you, like what you should do, and like, but no one would know better than yourself what you should do with your music. That's really the way it is. They can't make you to be someone else that you are. Like, even though they would like to have the next sleep token right now, you can't if you're not that guy. Like, you just have to like find your own thing. And I know there's a lot of pressure from labels because they look at the charts and like, oh, this is selling, and they have their meetings like, oh, we need bands like this, and let's, and sometimes they have great ideas. Sometimes they tell you like, oh, why don't you try to write a song like Sleep Token and see what happens? And it's like, if you can swallow your pride and do it, you might come up with something that is awesome, but it sounds nothing like Sleep Token. It's your own style.
Yeah.
So again, like, sometimes you gotta listen to them, like people who've done a lot or people who have experience, like we've talked before, you know. But then when you've when you have got all the information, all the ideas from these guys, then you have to judge yourself, which are the good ideas, what you should really do, and like decide yourself, you know.
Yeah, that's great advice. I appreciate it. And I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for chatting with me today. Uh, I love to pass the microphone over to you to, final word, final thought before we end.
Well, yeah, I hope that anyone who's watching this, like, can come to talk to me sometime, after a concert or somewhere. I'm always curious to hear people's stories. Like, it seems like I'm always talking about myself, but honestly, I'm very curious and willing to hear what our fans have to say, how our music has impacted their lives, what are their life stories, and you know, it's really um this is not we're not on doing this alone. We're doing this together with our fans. So hoping to meet a lot of you on the tour, and yeah, stay healthy, take care.